The Red Sox significantly dropped the ball on pitching. In a series that Boston so desperately needs to win in order to have a remote chance at making the playoffs, we all had to witness another downfall of a Red Sox pitcher.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling Podcast, here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. Every day, new Boston Red Sox content. And speaking of every day, SiriusXM has you covered for all Red Sox broadcasts. If you don't want to miss a single pitch of a game, just download the SiriusXM app and search Red Sox, and you won't have to miss a thing. Although you may have wanted to miss Monday night's game with how much of a mess it actually was, it probably put you a little bit to sleep. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper picks and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. To say that Monday's Red Sox game was a disaster would be an understatement. That game was just inexplainable. So much happened, but it was just an absolute mess. And it further proves the point that the Red Sox truly dropped the ball on pitching. They needed to acquire some pitching at the trade deadline. I said this over and over again, and they failed to do so or chose not to do so. And as a result, the pitching staff continues to be fatigued. For one, it's an issue that a lot of the Red Sox starters are not able to consistently get through 5 innings. So it's a problem from a longevity standpoint when the Red Sox can't really rely on the starters to go super deep into games. So therefore, Alex Cora has to resort to his bullpen earlier in a game a lot of times than he should have to. So the Red Sox biggest priority this offseason needs to be on the pitching, particularly getting a front end starter and also shaping out that bullpen to really be what it is, because there's no sense in having a super strong bullpen if they're just going to be worn out because they've pitched a lot. On Monday night, we saw a situation where Chris Sale started, didn't go that deep into the game, only pitched 4.2 innings and gave up 3 runs. So for Chris Sale, it's not his worst start that he's had this season, but it's certainly not his best start either. And if I'm Alex Cora, I was hoping to get more out of him, because given the fact that the Red Sox bullpen has had to pitch significantly lately, more often than they normally would, you want longevity and length from the starters. So that's issue number one with what went down on Monday night at Fenway against the Astros in a series that is so crucial for the Red Sox to win if they even want a remote chance at a wild card spot still. Have to win the series. Backs against the wall, Chris Sale on the mound, and he hasn't shown that he can be overly sharp in a lot of these games, and he'll usually start off strong. Pitched great in the first inning and then started developing some base traffic and gave up some runs and was over 90 pitches when he got pulled from the game. So it becomes an overbearing amount of work that the bullpen has to take on. And if I'm Alex Cora, I'm looking at it as a huge disappointment that I can't get more out of my starters because now I'm backed into a wall where I feel like I have to go to my bullpen sooner than I would have hoped. On Monday night's game, Kyle Barraclough was brought in to pitch in relief of Chris Sale, and what an absolute mess he was. 4.1 innings, he went and gave up 11 hits, 10 runs, 5 walks, 2 home runs, and hit 3 batters and had 1 strikeout. When Sale came out of the game, I had high hopes because Barraclough hasn't been overly strong, but it's also been a small sample size. We hadn't seen a lot of him this season, so I hoped that he could come in and pitch a respectable game. That was not the case. In the 6th inning, talk about an absolute meltdown. I mean, this guy could not record an out. I mean, he was hitting people right and left. He was walking a bunch of batters, giving up hits, giving up home runs. It was very obvious to me that he just didn't have it. And I was sitting there saying, why is nobody warming up in the Red Sox bullpen? Because you have other guys over there, and there was zero movement in the pen, and Barraclough just kept pitching and pitching, and the damage kept getting worse to the point where the Astros shut the door on the game, and there was no coming back for the Red Sox. And it appeared like Cora had no plans to bring anybody else in, and he was just letting Barraclough wear it. And that ended up being the case because he pitched the rest of the game. As you can see here, if you're watching on YouTube, this is the graphic that NESN used in this game that they pulled up to show just the amount of work that the Red Sox relievers have taken on lately. I mean, Winkowski threw 21 innings on August 22nd, which was last week, 25 pitches the next day on August 23rd, and 20 pitches just a few days ago on August 26th. So that's a lot of pitches. So you can't expect him to be available tonight because just in the last week, that's over 60 pitches of work. And that's a lot for a reliever. Then you even go down the list to John Schreiber, 22 pitches on the 25th of August, and then the very next day on the 26th threw 24 pitches. Garrett Whitlock, another one, 29 pitches thrown on August 23rd and 40 pitches thrown on August 26th. Then you go down to Pivetta, 15 pitches thrown on August 23rd and 36 pitches on August 25th. And then Chris Murphy, 80 pitches thrown on August 21st and 90 pitches thrown on August 27th. So realistically, based on this graphic and based on the list, Kenley Jansen was available because he pitched 3 pitches on August 23rd, and that was the last time that he threw the baseball. Chris Martin threw 29 pitches on that same day on August 23rd, and then threw 4 pitches total on August 26th. I mean, that guy's nails. He just absolutely was able to shut down the Dodgers lineup on August 26th. And so he could be available. But then you look at everybody else, and they've all thrown a lot of pitches. So then you have Joe Vera, who threw 39 pitches on August 22nd, 21 pitches on August 24th, and 9 pitches on August 27th. He did pitch the 9th inning against the Dodgers on the 27th, but obviously didn't need to throw a lot of pitches in that inning. So he still, you can make the argument, was available. But the point in all of this and showing that graphic is to show that the Red Sox bullpen is so fatigued right now that Alex Cora didn't have much of a choice, because if you think about the fact that Chris Martin and Kenley Jansen were both available and Joe Vera was pretty much available, and that is basically your only options because everybody else has pitched a lot lately and they're worn out and you want to try to conserve people for later in the series, what other choice did Cora really have? I wouldn't be surprised if there was a conversation between Cora and Barraclough before the game started on Monday night where he said, look, like, I don't have a lot of options available. So you're going into the game after Sale is pulled. And I don't care how your performance goes. I need you to eat some innings. That conversation may or may not have happened. We won't know for sure. But it could have happened because Barraclough didn't look that rattled that he was still pitching. And so in the 8th inning, Barraclough was still pitching and Jovera was warming up because he would have been the next man up. So by keeping Barraclough in the game, it allows Cora to have his high leverage guys available. You don't want to waste Martin or Jansen in a game like this where the Red Sox are down by a bunch of runs. Once the Red Sox, went down 5-4. That was obviously still manageable, but then Barraclough kept giving up base runners and they kept piling on the runs. So once the Astros really took over and went up 9-4, that is when I said, hey, it's not worth trying to throw Jansen or Martin. You can't throw Jansen at that point in the game because he is a closer. He pitches in the 9th inning. Martin is not meant for that type of situation. He's a high leverage guy. And say, tonight's game, the Red Sox are winning, but it's a close game and it's a late, in the late innings. You want Chris Martin to be available to come in and pitch in that high leverage situation in that game and not risk him being a little fatigued because he was pitching on a second straight night because he pitched Monday night. So Martin was out. He probably would have made an appearance if the game remained 4-3 and the Red Sox were holding on to the lead and Barraclough looked really good. Then you probably don't see Jovera at all and you conserve him. You get Barraclough to the 8th inning and then Martin comes in and pitches the 8th and Jansen in the 9th. But that would have been okay to use them because those are the situations they get used in. When it comes to Jovera, he could have been available, but if he's available to be used tonight, then who's available for the rest of the series in that middle relief type of situation? So the choices were either pull Barraclough in the 6th inning when he was absolutely melting down and put in Jovera to finish up that inning and then, probably pitch the 7th, maybe the 8th inning. And if the Red Sox are still winning, then bring in Jansen to close it out. But once they gave up the lead, maybe you pull Barraclough then and bring in Jovera. But then by doing that, you're really eliminating tons of options for the bullpen for the rest of the series because with Jansen and Martin basically being your last two guys, your 8th and 9th inning guys in high leverage situations, they don't really end up in the conversation about middle relief. So then in that case, based on the graphic that I showed, you're looking at really two pitchers that are available, and that is Barraclough and Jovera. So by bringing Jovera in relief of Barraclough, then you're risking not really having anybody available going into Tuesday and Wednesday in a series you absolutely have to win. So that to me is why once Barraclough gave up that lead, I think Cora might have had it in his mind that he needed to eat innings regardless of how he pitched because he needs his other guys to be rested because they've all been taking on a lot of innings and throwing a lot of pitches lately. So Cora, I don't think had any intention of pulling him when he did, regardless of how that performance went. And then had he gotten through the 8th inning and it was a close game, then maybe you see one of those high leverage guys come in to finish it out. But because there was this meltdown, Cora probably said, hey, I might as well just let him finish the game because by doing that, then I'm keeping everybody else rested. And what do we have to lose at this point? Because we're going to lose this game anyway. So that's the justification I have for that. But what an absolute meltdown that was by Barraclough. I mean, just absolutely tough to watch. And the Red Sox just need to figure something out with the pitching because this is just not fair to the bullpen arms. Don't forget, you can get the home broadcast of every Red Sox game straight to your phone. Just download the SiriusXM app and search Red Sox, and they will have you covered with the Red Sox home broadcast for all of the games, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing, depending on the way you look at it and how the season is going. But definitely download the SiriusXM app and search Red Sox, and they have you covered. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about just the various roster moves that were made on Monday and a little bit of Sunday for the Red Sox and what that means moving forward. Do you like fantasy baseball? I mean, I love it. It's super fun. Sleeper has you covered for all things fantasy baseball related. Do you want the chance to win more money with less picks? Head to Sleeper, the #1 sports app, where you can win up to 100 times your money on just 2 or more fantasy baseball picks. An example of a player that would be great to use in this situation is Adam Duvall, who's hit 6 home runs in 8 games, absolutely crushes them, hit another one on Monday night. Do you think that Adam Duvall is going to hit a home run in that game? If yes, select Adam Duvall, and then you can choose some of his other stats like strikeouts, hits, RBIs, anything like that. And all you have to do is just record how many home runs you think he's going to hit, if any, in that game. How many hits is he going to record in the game? And if you get it right, you win so much money. It's that easy. Just use promo code LOCKEDON and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. It truly makes everything so easy from a fantasy baseball standpoint. So I highly, highly recommend checking it out. The Red Sox made a few roster moves between Sunday and Monday. I just talked about Kyle Barraclough, who absolutely fell apart on the mound on Monday night, and it was quite scary to watch. He wasn't even really supposed to be up. He got called up on Monday. So it all started with Brennan Bernardino, who was placed on the COVID list on Sunday. So then as a result of that, Chris Murphy was called up. He made an appearance on Sunday. He pitched 4 innings, giving up 9 hits and 6 earned runs and 4 Ks. A lot of people will say, because he pitched 4 innings on Sunday, the rest of the bullpen was rested, so more people should have been available, which in theory, yes, that is the case, but you have to look at the overall standpoint of how many pitches have these guys thrown in the last week, and it's quite a lot, and that could really do a lot for their arm. I mean, even for example, on Monday night, Nick Pivetta was wearing a little arm sleeve, basically. That was because he probably was experiencing some soreness in his arm, so he needed to keep his muscles relaxed. It's little things like that. You can't push guys because long term, that's just going to backfire even more. So Murphy pitched 4 innings, did not look good, 6 earned runs. It was rough. So as a result of that, he was sent back down to AAA on Monday, and then Barraclough was called up, and that was just also a mess. Other moves that were made, Pablo Reyes was placed on the 10-day injured list on Monday with left elbow inflammation, which is definitely a bummer. Reyes has been hitting very well since being back from the IL last time. I really enjoy watching him hit because he's talented. He hits to all different parts of Fenway, and he makes things happen on the base paths also. So Reyes is definitely going to be a bit of a loss. David Hamilton was called up from AAA as a result of that. We've seen him already this season. In the minors this year, he's taken 337 at-bats, recording 65 runs, 82 hits, 15 home runs, and 47 RBIs. He also has 49 stolen bases and a 243 batting average with a 360 on-base percentage. So he's been having a good season in AAA. And in the majors, it's a really small sample size. He's only taken 30 at-bats, recorded 2 runs and 4 hits. and has 2 stolen bases with a 133 average and 257 on base percentage. With the way that the Red Sox Astros game was going on Monday night, he was actually able to come into the game and he took an at bat in the 9th inning and fouled out to the catcher. So it's good that he was able to get an at bat in. Cora, towards the end of the game, probably just said, hey, we're not winning this game, so we might as well just give some of these guys reps and allow them to just get some plate appearances in. So David Hamilton was able to do that. I don't know how long Reyes is going to actually be out. It still has yet to be confirmed. The Red Sox don't seem to think it's anything too serious. So I don't expect Hamilton's stint up in the majors this time to be long. Similar to last time, it was a pretty brief stint in the majors, but we really started to get to know him and some of his play style. Obviously, he has a lot of speed, so he can steal bases. And he's still working on his plate discipline, but that's natural. So I'll be interested in seeing over the next few games really what he can do up at this level. And Reyes going to the IL is just symbolic of the fact that this Red Sox team just has not been able to stay healthy all season. It's just incredibly irritating. And just as they were starting to get healthy, Jarren Duran goes to the IL because he was trying to climb up the wall on a home run last week. So he was placed on the IL because he got injured as a result of that play. So it was just when I felt like the Red Sox were starting to really get healthy. That has to happen. So it's just really unfortunate because this team has not been able to stay healthy all season. But the positive to that is that some of these players who were down in the minors all season have been able to get their shot and come up and really prove what they can do at the major league level. And David Hamilton is one of those players who has been, enjoyable to watch at the minor league level. Now it's just a matter of getting some of those same numbers back in the majors and being able to showcase his talent and show that he's worth, being somebody who could eventually get a more permanent spot on this team. If he performs well, Pablo Reyes' future on the team after this season, I absolutely think is in question. It'll be a matter of who do we feel like makes the most sense for our middle infield. Urias, another one. He can hit pretty well too. His defense, I've had a bit of a problem with. I like Reyes' defense better than Urias's. And speaking of the middle infield, what a difference Trevor Story's defense has made since coming back. When he plays defense and he's turning really nice double plays, that's when you realize how much defense of his caliber was missed on this Red Sox team. They desperately needed him to come back and be in that spot because the middle infield was really struggling from a defensive standpoint. So the question now becomes, can Hamilton really step up and put up numbers like he was putting up in the minors, or is he not going to be able to do that? But the good news for the Red Sox is they now have the options at the middle infield where going into next season, they can evaluate, okay, who was showing up? Who do we feel like makes the most sense with our team at this time? So it'll be interesting now that he is up to see if he can really fill that reliable role that Reyes was filling, and hopefully be getting an update soon on Reyes and how long he's really going to be out. But the Red Sox did make another roster move on Monday. Wilyer Abreu was placed on the paternity list. Huge congratulations to him on becoming a dad. That is awesome. That's what we all strive for, right? Just having safe and healthy children and just having a lovely family. I look forward to that one day myself. So happy for him. Huge props there. He was hitting very well in the few games that he's been playing for the Red Sox. He had come up to replace Duran when he got injured. And I like that it's a little bit of a shakeup now for this Red Sox team. I mean, some of these guys from the minors coming up to get their shot, you have to hope that they're able to maybe help a little bit to make this Red Sox team look a little bit different down the stretch. And it's not the same players that we're watching for the rest of the season, and maybe they'll shake things up offensively, and it could be in a good way, it could be not in a good way, but the roster definitely looks a little bit different right now than it did last week. Because of a Wilyer Abreu going on the paternity list, the moment finally happened on Monday, the much anticipated arrival of Ceddanne Rafaela, who is currently the Red Sox number 3 prospect. He's an infielder and outfielder. He replaced Abreu. He was the corresponding move called up from AAA when Abreu was placed on the paternity list. And I was so excited because he's been absolutely killing it at every level of the minors. So coming up, I'm going to be talking about him and the impact that he can hopefully make with this Red Sox team. Don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Red Sox on your favorite podcast platform for new episodes Monday through Friday, straight to your feed for free. Obviously, some days are happier conversations than others, but it certainly is worth going through and navigating the emotions together that the Red Sox put us through. So continue to share it. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you love to listen to podcasts. And also don't forget, SiriusXM has you covered for all the Red Sox broadcasts for every game. So if you don't want to miss a single pitch of Red Sox baseball this season, you don't have to with SiriusXM. Just search Red Sox on the app, and every pitch of the Red Sox home broadcast will be there. Ceddanne Rafaela, a much anticipated Red Sox prospect who we've watched soar through the minor leagues, finally got his shot on Monday night due to Wilyer Abreu being placed on the paternity list. Just absolutely has killed it in the minors. He is batting .302 with 79 RBIs and 20 home runs with 36 stolen bases at the minor league level this season. He actually stole a franchise record 6 bases in a game for the Portland Sea Dogs earlier this spring, which is the Red Sox AA affiliate, and quickly moved up to AAA and has made an impact in Worcester as well. He wasn't supposed to be in the Red Sox lineup on Monday night, but again, because the game was going the way that it was, Alex Cora decided late in the game he might as well give his starters some rest, get them off their feet a little bit, bring them to the bench and allow them to rest the rest of the game when it got out of reach and we knew the Red Sox weren't winning that game anymore and didn't have a chance. So Cora decided to put some of his starters on the bench and give Rafaela a chance to see the field and take his first major league at bat. Well, his first major league at bat was certainly one to remember because he literally swung at the first pitch that he saw and it was a base hit. So that was pretty cool, getting a knock like that to right field in his first major league game on the very first pitch he saw, and it was in the 8th inning. I mean, what a moment for him. Unfortunately, something not so great happened shortly after that. He was doubled off first base on a pop-up to right field. Basically, the ball was caught and then thrown back into first base, and he was off the base. So he ended up being a double play for the Red Sox to end the inning. That's a rookie mistake. I'm not too concerned about it. He'll learn his way. I mean, it just adds, though, to just the constant list of base running blunders that the Red Sox make. It's been a problem all season, and I'm willing to defend somebody on it who is making their first, appearance in a major league game, but I'm not willing to defend it for people who have been here for a while and are a lot more experienced and should be able to be more disciplined when it comes to their base running. So I'm willing to give him a pass on this one because it was his very first major league game. I'm sure he felt very nervous and there was a lot of pressure on him, and especially with the situation he was in because he wasn't prepared to make an appearance tonight because he was not supposed to be in the lineup. So to be sprung into the lineup at the last minute, get a hit, be feeling confident, and then have a base running blunder like that, I mean, it happens. So he'll figure it out. It's just a learning curve for him, but I'm sure that it's something he'll be able to adjust and adapt to. as he progresses through his time in the majors. Who knows how long he'll be up. The question becomes what the timeline looks like for Duran and also Abreu, who will probably be returning pretty shortly from the paternity list. So then it becomes a matter of who's going to go down to AAA and who's going to stay up. Duran, obviously, when he comes back, will be in the majors. So some decisions will then have to, be made at that point. I expect that Rafaela, I'm sure at some point, will go back down to AAA, probably when Abreu comes back, and then him probably eventually back down when Duran comes back. But some decisions here that the Red Sox have to make in terms of the outfield. But I'm certainly excited, and I see it as a positive thing that players like Rafaela and David Hamilton are able to get their shot right now to shake things up a little bit with the Red Sox roster, because we can now see what the Red Sox future looks like and some of the players that could contribute. So this seems like a very good thing. Hopefully they're able to perform. Hopefully the Red Sox can perform tonight and bounce back after what was a rough game against Houston on Monday. Keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.